Yo, this is Supermax Hernandez, and you're watching Countdown City WrestleCast. Boom, I got it.
Just do it while we're doing it. So.
Yeah. What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to finally another episode of Countdown City WrestleCast. Right, we're about to start another technical difficulty. So I'm just gonna let you guys know right now, if this happens again on this show in this episode, and we got a lot to talk about, Mike, not funny. We're gonna push this to Tuesday.
I got so scared for a second.
So, not funny, Mike, not funny. I'm your host, JC. Joining me this week is Tommy.
I'm Tommy, and I'm sponsored by Cade's tonight because I got off work and I'm hungry. So I know we're not supposed to show products, but screw it. Thank you, Cade's, for being open late.
Oh man, we just got demonetized.
Yeah.
Like hell, they better sponsor us now.
We got Mike.
What's up, guys? I'm Mike, and we are moving straight ahead into 2022 Electric Boogaloo. We're at the halfway point.
Please, dear God, I hope everything works the rest of
And
the year.
for some of us, things are shut down for the summer, mostly so.
Yes, congrats to Mike, to my wife Tina, to just about every teacher out there who got through one of, obviously, the hardest school years in recent memory. Probably harder than the previous school year, I would say, because everything's transitioning back to in-person. There's a lot to pick up on, and then...
Yeah.
Right when things are starting to kick up, Uvalde happens, and it just kind of throws a wrench in so many things. So, won't talk too much about that because it always turns political for some reason. It shouldn't. You just
Can't imagine why.
yeah, you wonder why. But if you want some of my feelings on it, I will say this: HBO Max has a great 2-part documentary about George Carlin, and I highly recommend it. It's pretty damn awesome. But so much of the stuff Carlin, they point out, has said in his comedy years ago is still true today. So, anyway, let's get into wrestling today. We're going to recap AEW Double or Nothing. We're going to quickly preview NXT In Your House. Yes, that is happening this weekend. People seem to forget about that. And preview Hell in a Cell.
I forgot about that.
We're going to try and run through this rather quickly because computer issues. But also talk a bit of wrestling news. Now we're gonna hit on one piece of news before we get into Double or Nothing, and then a few more after we talk Double or Nothing, because with things that happen at Double or Nothing kind of ties into that as well. And there's quite a bit in that front. So, you good, Tommy?
Good.
All right. First piece I want to mention though, WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So they made a big hype. We've called it the Big Five. I would argue, to me, it's honestly, I personally enjoy it better than SummerSlam. You know, it's one of my favorites of the year, and they set this to be a big show at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, home of the Las Vegas Raiders. Beautiful stadium. Had things not gone crazy economy wise, Tina and I were considering trying to make it to that show in Vegas. Part of us celebrating 10 years married. But I was very shocked that they, a little over a month left before the show, have switched venues. Apparently, only about 16,000 of a huge stadium, ticket-wise, has sold. So they have moved the venue to the MGM Garden Arena, which only holds a capacity of about 17,000.
Actually, it's not the reason why. No, I just got word from Lord Alfred Hayes.
Oh boy.
There was a threat against the arena. By the way, if y'all don't know what this is a callback to WrestleMania 7 when they were in LA and they moved from the big arena out there where USC plays to a little stadium. But they said it was during the Iraq War and there was a bomb threat, and that's why they had to move. It's more like the ticket sales bombed, am I right?
Yeah, there was no social media around there and stuff like that back then. So, yeah, so this has kind of created a whole crazy case. Everyone that has already bought tickets is going to get a refund, and then they're going to get all those people that purchase tickets, get them on an exclusive pre-sale to try and be. They have priority to buy tickets at the new venue, and then if any of those are still available, they'll open them up to the general public as well. So this kind of got interesting. You know, obviously this was announced months ago. They're doing it on a Saturday, July 2nd. And then UFC said, hey, we're going to run a show that night at the T-Mobile Arena.
Oh.
And I said back then, if you guys remember, you go back on the show, I said WWE has to move this to Sunday. Because it just doesn't make sense for them to run head-to-head in UFC's territory the same night as a pay-per-view. We say New York is WWE's territory. I know the territory system, yeah, it's still around in a way. WWE is based out of New York. You got AEW based out of Jacksonville. Impact's based out of Nashville. UFC's territory is Las Vegas. That's its home.
100%.
So, how bad a look is this for WWE, though?
It's just funny. I mean, WWE has no shame.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to care about it, but it's just kind of funny. Because, you know, they were... I don't know, like, I don't want to get into the whole Nick Khan of things, but he just seems to have his fingerprints over everything. Supposedly he was the one who was like, yeah, we can do all our big five, if you call them, pay-per-views at stadiums. We're going to do stadium shows. And then, like, right off the bat, after this thing, one of the, you know, after his proclamation, it's like, oh, maybe not a stadium show here. So.
I just think, like, you know, you really can't compete with the power of the UFC, man. I mean, you know,
no way. Yeah.
No, not in Vegas. Like, you know, hey, as a diehard pro wrestling fan, I love it. But you know what? Also, as a realist, who actually, I very much enjoy UFC. I really do. I have a friend who loves it way more, and you know, and he's a wrestling fan too, but he loves UFC way more. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you really just can't compete with that fan base. You really can't. And like, especially like you said, in Vegas, that is their town. So wait, which show was announced first? The UFC show or Money in the Bank?
Technically, Money in the Bank.
Okay.
It was announced first.
Okay.
The problem is, I mean, they announced it, but I've barely seen this show advertised. You know, usually on Raw or SmackDown, they're announcing ticket sales. You know, I don't live in Vegas, but I'm getting pre-sale emails about it. You know, it's Vegas for crying out. I mean, you can't just advertise it to Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
You gotta advertise it everywhere. Big events like this, people travel to Vegas for them.
Sure.
Now, I think it's a big missed opportunity for WWE. You could have easily moved this to Sunday. You had people that would be coming in after UFC announced the show. People were going to come in to go to that, and they could have said, you know what? I'm already in Vegas. Let me stick around a day or two extra, and I'm going to check out WWE at Allegiant. You know? And it's Vegas. I mean, they'll find a way to bet on anything WWE related. I mean, yeah, for the Royal Rumble, you get Vegas odds who's going to win Money in the Bank. You know, there's so much there.
Hey, well, see, like you said, that's another problem with their hubris. Like, if they can't have it their way, then they don't want to do it at all. You know, it's like, it's, you know, I don't get the problem with being second string to something. I don't get why that's so bad. Like, because I guess it's the mentality of when they've reigned at the top for so long. Anything even remotely coming close to that, they just can't stand.
Yeah. The
problem is with UFC is that that's a whole other beast entirely. Pun almost entirely intended because of Brock Lesnar. I mean, you know, because it's like, first of all, where else are you going to steal half your talent from, Vince? Like, you know, I'm just saying, you know, who else are you going to try to get, you know, when their UFC career is up to pad out your roster that you fired everybody else for?
Yeah.
You know? But, you know, whatever. I'm not bitter. But I don't understand this mindset of like you said, not just moving it to Sunday, or just not thinking that there is a bigger market for something out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, is UFC bigger than pro wrestling? Yeah, sure. Why not? So's football. So that doesn't stop the pro wrestling train. It just means that there's fish out there, which is fine.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Well, we'll see. And honestly, when you think about it, Double or Nothing could outdraw Money in the Bank, live attendance wise. So, you know, That's pretty crazy to think, right?
That would be crazy if it did.
Yeah. All right.
Funny.
Speaking of Double or Nothing, let's jump right into it. AEW just does not disappoint, guys. So there's a lot to unpack on this show. So rather than us go kind of match by match, there's a few to highlight here. I'll start with Mike. What are like 2 or 3 matches for you, or 2 or 3 moments that stood out the most for you out of Double or Nothing?
The Anarchy in the Arena match was just a crazy hodgepodge of randomness and violence and funny, scary images, and Eddie Kingston just being Eddie Kingston. And
I love that.
It's
in all
Eddie Kingston,
seriousness,
isn't it? Right?
that might be right up there as an iconic image for AEW, in the way that Becky Lynch's broken nose SmackDown invasion standing at the top of the crowd was, because he just looked deranged. The Ruby Soho Britt Baker match was really good, despite the outcome for me. But so was obviously the women's championship match, which was just a hell of a match with 2 really good, technically sound wrestlers just beating each other up and going through moves and holds. And the 3-on-3 House of Black Death Triangle was just a very similar. Like you said, I mean, there's very few matches that disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Tommy, any other matches or moments on that card that Tommy had, right when you take a bite, I'm asking you a question that Mike maybe hasn't mentioned that stood out for you?
I liked it, but I hope they can do it again. It's Samoa Joe and Adam Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. No, that's pretty much it. I did enjoy the story Punk and Hangman told in their match. Like, that was pretty good imagery of he's like his urge to cheat. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much everything Mike said. Oh, the triple threat tag title match. I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought that was really, really good use of all 6 guys. And Christian Cage.
Those are so hard to book, right? That one definitely stood out. That did something.
Yeah, but it's hard to book, but it was really fun, including Keith Lee getting in a good "oh my god" was hilarious. So, but I gotta be honest. I think my show stealer might have been Death Triangle versus House of Black. I really see all 6 of those guys as world champion back to back.
Yeah,
might be down the line too. Yeah. So, I really thought Soho was going to beat Britt Baker, especially after the entrance she got. I mean, that crowd was hyped for Rancid to be out there.
No kidding.
You know, like
that was so cool. That was
so cool. I'm a bit upset about Britt Baker winning this, and it's no knock on her, but it's like you missed a golden opportunity to push a next big woman star. Like, Britt didn't need that. She's already replaced MJF as a pillar of AEW, right? That the joke's there. They already made the T-shirt, so Ruby could have definitely used that.
That one's still up. I still need to get that shirt.
Yeah. Thunder Rosa Serena Deeb. In light of what we're going to talk about with Thunder Rosa too, it felt like they both went out there like, we need to prove something. You know,
it did.
It really did. So, and I hope Tony Khan's taking notes, or anyone else booking back there's taking notes. But golly, you know, like barely even addressed it on Wednesday. So, but Punk and Page
or Rampage now that we're there.
Or Rampage, yeah. Punk and Hangman, Jesus Christ, it's better than I thought it was gonna be great. It was better than I expected too. But I was very happy with the result too. I honestly, like from everything that's up and down, looking at the results too. The only thing that I wasn't too happy with is, like I mentioned, Ruby Soho, like from a match result kind of standpoint. So, go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm mad Samoa Joe didn't win.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm legitimately upset Samoa Joe didn't.
Okay,
win,
people were online though. Were trying to justify it because apparently there's only one Owen Cup, And so it was easier for Britt and Adam Cole to stand up there as a couple. Although, and I know maybe it would have taken away from Owen having Martha Hart there, but I also think it would have been hilarious to have Adam and Soho there, with Soho having just beaten their girlfriend, right? They're not married. Are they married now?
They're not married yet.
I think they're
right?
engaged.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're engaged.
So I think that would have been funny. And in all honesty, from every story you've ever heard about Owen Hart, he probably would have found it funnier than anybody.
He probably would have laughed his ass off.
Because so many people have talked about he was like the king of ribs and joking around with the boys. But yeah, I agree with that. And I was going to say the only match that like was even like, it wasn't that great, was the TBS, Cargill and Anna Jay. Like, didn't have a lot of stuff leading up to it. But you still got Stokely Hathaway and Athena out of that whole thing, so even that wound up being pretty fun.
It's nothing against Anna Jay, right? That's how she wrestled.
Yeah,
it's yeah, but I mean the TBS Championship. Like honestly, I haven't cared for it until Athena came out and is laid down if she wants the shot at it. So
that's.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna just say real quick. To me, that's the hangover from the Brock Lesnar booking champion. Like when you book a champion that's strong at a certain point in that run, it gets boring to watch because you don't really think they're going to have to build up the person that takes them out. And this Anna Jay, like I like Anna Jay. I think she's stronger when the Dark Order is more involved with stuff, and I don't know what's going on with them either. But they just kind of threw this match on last minute. And as impressive physically as Jade Cargill is, she's way young. She's real green overall, and unfortunately, I guess both of them. Well, I mean, Anna Jay's still kind of young. Neither of them are like ring generals that can kind of pull together, a top match. I mean, Jade, tell her to do a move, and she could probably do it. But like even in the finish, when Stokely Hathaway comes out to distract her, Anna Jay just kind of does a really bad job of like, there's no reason she should have been distracted, and then she literally just walks into like, I don't know, like obviously sets up to let Jade Cargill do the avalanche. Yeah. I forgot what her finisher's called, but but even then, like Stokely Hathaway's hilarious, and you got Athena. And again, kind of going back to the women, Statlander, she's good again apparently, and fans are hyped for her and Cargill for those few seconds. I mean, I'm not going to crap on it because we brought out Athena afterwards, but you got a lot of women, Tony.
You got to book things a little bit better, So
yeah,
I mean,
you
have the opposite problem that WWE has right now,
so
you can do something more with it,
Yeah.
I do feel like that the pay-per-view, some of the matches were just to get everyone a pay-per-view paycheck, which I can't get too mad at. Now, I did see one criticism online that I will give some credit to, that the pay-per-view ran a bit long. But again, this is that whole mentality of getting everyone on the card so they can get a pay-per-view paycheck. Again, I'm not mad at that. And I also find it easier to forgive a company that's still just 3 years old. Also, they also, this might be their longest pay-per-view. They don't do that often, and by that I mean long pay-per-views and pay-per-views in general.
Yeah,
like they don't do that often, So it's like it's hard to complain about a long pay-per-view when they don't really run that many. It's not like it's like, oh my god, another long pay-per-view. No, it's like this is like their second one this year, and that happened in May. So
right, and there was also some planning because of the NBA Finals game. Like Tony Khan came out like the week before, like during the week, and said the title match will make sure to go on after the finals are done. So it seems like in the week leading, they were kind of planning to extend it to make sure they didn't get that kind of crossover. So
yeah, they're trying to work all that out too. So, but I saw the criticism, like it ran long. I get the paycheck thing, but I feel like personally, like you had one pre-show match, you could have put the TBS Championship on the pre-show. You have Athena show up on the pre-show. Maybe you start selling some more buys. That kind of thing. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly, Darby Allin, as great as it was short. Like I wanted more from it. So
that could have been pre-show too.
Yeah, could have been pre-show. Could have been a Dynamite main event. So I mean, I'm not going to argue with neither one of them getting a pay-per-view paycheck, but yeah, I get it. They only run like 4 or 5 major pay-per-views a year. 4 hours, cool, but you know, kind of get some more matches that mean something because some of this felt a little jumbled to me personally. So, pick results wise, Mike and Tommy each went 3-3, and I went 5-1. Yes.
Well.
Yeah. So, now time for our WrestleCast ratings for Double or Nothing. And if you're watching either live or later on, let us know what your rating is. 0 to 5, 5 being WrestleMania 17, 0 being December to December. Mike, we'll start with you. What's your rating for Double or Nothing?
I'm gonna give it a 4.5. All the matches were really solid. I guess maybe because I didn't watch it Sunday night and I kind of watched it on my own time. The time thing didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
So for me, that's not much of a factor. But like I said, outside of Cargill and Anna Jane, it wasn't bad. I just wasn't sure. It may not have been a pay-per-view match per se. Like every match was super solid to me. There was a lot of variety, even with several multi-people matches of different kinds. Each one had a different appeal to it. Like we talked about the trios match with House of Black and Death Triangle, which was different from Anarchy in the Arena, which was 5-on-5, just chaos everywhere. Even the ring announcer.
Oh man, Justin Roberts, man, that shit cracked me up.
Shit is about to hit the fan.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, he's another person. Like we said it, when we were at the actual taping for Dynamite. He is having a blast now in his.
Yes.
And see, okay, so I think I've said this before, but this is why I always give AEW a pass, really, because of the number of people who are just having fun again. Like every time I think about like AEW does this and that, then I remember JR saying, "I think Tony Khan saved my life because I was sitting at home doing nothing until I got that phone call," and I was like, I can't hate AEW.
Tell me what's your rating on Double or Nothing?
4.25 actually for me. I felt like some things didn't click. Not enough to make it a terrible, don't watch it at all show. It's just that there are some things I feel like for some fans they could skip. If that makes any sense, and they'd be okay.
Yeah.
Not the whole show entirely, just a couple of things here and there. But at the same time, there's also some required viewing. The Roast and Serena D. Anarchy in the Arena was man. Okay, so I saw the clip of Eddie Kingston with Gasoline before I saw the match.
Yeah.
And the first thing I said was, I need to watch this to get to the series of steps that we went through that got us there. And then, I don't know if you guys saw this meme. It said, you know how much you got to hate of MF to buy gasoline to pour on him in this economy?
Yeah, no kidding.
At least they're doing it now before gas hits like $6 a gallon, which is
well, I don't know in Vegas, man.
In Vegas, I think it is, man.
Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah, so
that might have been like a $8-10 hate crime there. So
I mean,
but to be fair for Eddie, now he can afford it. So.
That's like that Chris Rock stand up, like, call the bullets cost $5,000.
Yeah.
Like, I would kill you right now if I could afford it.
That's one of my favorite Chris Rock stand ups ever. Oh my god. Look at that man said I would kill you if I could afford it. I'd die.
My rating for Double or Nothing is actually echoing with Mike, 4.5. I mean, there's things that it did feel kind of running long. I tried to watch as much of it at a time to kind of get it, and then I found myself skipping through the TBS Championship match. Nothing against it, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna get to the Athena part. Like, I really didn't have an interest in it. And part of it, like, there wasn't as major build up, that kind of thing. But I did like what I saw. But 4.5, that brings our rating overall to 4.417 for AEW Double or Nothing. So, not too shabby for Double or Nothing. And this is been now 4 years. Since the first one? 3 years?
3
years now. Yeah.
They mentioned it a few times.
Yeah, so it's amazing to see where this company has come in that time. So
yeah.
Now
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, like some people have called this one of their some people have said one of their worst pay-per-views, but and if you feel that way, fine, but I just want to point out, like, That's got to be saying something though. At this point, if this was you feel like was their worst pay-per-view yet, come on. I mean,
Yeah, but yeah, that's like saying you were like the worst player on the 27 Yankees. Like you were still probably a all-world player. You just happen to be in league with legends of the game.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that was what someone else pointed out. It's like, but when you consider, it's no, someone else did. I read one comment that said, but he said this is probably their worst pay-per-view. But to be fair, we've been spoiled by their pay-per-views so much. It's like everyone's a hit.
So it's like you're batting ninth in an All-Star game. Sure, you're batting ninth, but you're there.
You're at the All-Star game.
You're at the All-Star game. That has to feel good alone. Like at that point, I you have to feel like you don't care how you perform it anymore because you're in the All-Star game.
Okay, when we preview a match later, I'm going to ask you a question, and we'll have to choose between which one we would rather watch. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
We'll get to that later. But now
I'm already scared.
We're gonna talk a little AEW news though. First of all, now because more of the wrestling news side of things, there's been a lot with the fallout of what's happened. Bit of a drama, and this is part. Let's start with the MJF part of this. I think this is worth talking about because that's what a lot of people have talked about. There was an autograph signing he was advertised for on Saturday. He no-showed it. Fans had to get refunds for it, and some reports that he was booked on a flight out of Vegas that evening. Of course, him and Wardlow opened the show. I mean, for the story that we knew, it was told great. I mean, MJF took the power bombs, a bunch of them, and sold it well. He even teased the crowd with the whole airplane thing. And then we get to Wednesday on Dynamite, and the whole story is barely addressed, but we get that promo. Now, Tina, who my wife is a big fan of MJF's, loves him as a heel, thinks he's great. I mean, she said that before many times on here. And I showed her the promo. She didn't get to see it live because, last week of school is crazy. But she watched it, and she pointed out some things in there that pointed out to, deep down, she thinks it's a work. How you give a guy a live mic with all these grievances.
Oh, yeah. It's for sure work right now.
It was a work on Wednesday. You do not let someone go on your show. We've learned that more than enough.
We've learned that more than enough times. But there's one line in there that she pointed out that I didn't pick up on. Is to say these guys couldn't lace my boots, and it was like, oh, that's like AJ Lee's. They couldn't lace my Chuck Taylors, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That could So
MJF would never be caught dead in Chuck. No,
anyway, but the point is this is so expertly done, but a lot of things that he's addressed. Why I think this has been brought up as a storyline is because he probably really has had these grievances. And he's probably told Tony Khan this stuff.
And here's my thing. Because I don't know if I can go into a couple points real quick, if you don't mind. Okay, first...
No. Sorry.
Okay, first, now I'm going to go ahead and say Saturday was a work. And because, as someone said, they never refund hundreds of dollars just for work. Tony Khan is rich. He's filthy, stinking rich. He's wealthy. Yes, he would. Because he has the money to spare. He will not miss it. I bet he didn't even notice the money was gone.
That's some kind of
But my main thing is, while I'm positive this is a work, is he said all that. It wasn't exactly treading brand new water. And while I'm sure he may feel this way, didn't he kind of benefit the most from all these ex-WWE guys coming in? Feuded with Cody, feuded with Moxley, had that long program with Jericho. Didn't his stock rise the most? And I'm not saying he can have legitimate grievance about his paycheck after all these other guys are probably getting paid more than him. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what this guy on Instagram said. If you had the money and you could sign Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, William Regal, Pac to your promotion, you do it because you have the money and you want to start a successful wrestling promotion. Sign them, Chris Jericho. And honestly, I always and I love the promo. I'm not knocking the promo, but I'm like, his points are kind of counterintuitive. Also because his last big feud was with Wardlow, a literal AEW bring up. Didn't really have that much of a name before then. You know, you had to really look to see who he was. It was like his last feud was against like, I don't know, insert ex-WWE name here. It was against Wardlow, and you were like, oh, he jobbed out to Wardlow. First of all, that was not jobbing out. I've seen jobbing out. That wasn't it, because he just got that. What he happened to him at WWEHIAC was called just desserts. That's what he got.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, it's called good storytelling.
Yeah.
Too. It's so I feel like people misunderstand the word jobbing now. I really do. Like, I really don't think anyone knows what that word means.
Because no one has a job. No, kidding. Sorry.
So yeah, I feel like it's always been a work, but it's been like you said, based on legitimate way he felt, and someone just said, let's turn this into a storyline.
My God, they are. Yeah, like the feud with CM Punk. The two matches, they're 1-1, right? Punk is champion now. Why hasn't he been in discussion to potentially be a challenger? You know, obviously he's been dealing with the whole Wardlow thing too. But you know, obviously the timing of this right into Forbidden Door, they announced Tanahashi. But getting back to this whole MJF thing, Mike, this is new territory. We actually just discussed this. It feels like with the whole Sasha Banks and Naomi thing. They pulled their merch off their store. But the difference is they're mentioned on TV. They bring this up on WWE does. So it's almost like you feel like it's a work because they're talking.
They brought it up once.
But on a future.
When it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch Rampage today, no talk about it. MJF's face is not on the roster for AEW. His merch isn't available. AEW, people reported this, and who the hell tracks this, unfollowed him on Twitter. Mike, they're really selling this. How impressed are you?
They're really selling it. I got to be honest, going back some points, though, what Tommy said, if Saturday was a work, you have to be careful. Because, and I've also seen reports of this in the past couple of days, working your own wrestlers, because a lot of wrestlers, unless they're playing along, everyone's playing along, were unsure about what was going on, and a lot of people would say that that's what was happening in the dying days of WCW, was that Hogan and Russo were trying to work the boys all the time, so that no one knew what was going on. And yes, Tony Khan also has the money to cover the meet and greet, but now you're working the fans, and not in a way that kind of hurts them, because these fans were legitimately showing up with money to meet this guy,
to get roasted by him probably too. You know, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what he does, but you know, and yeah, he could cover the money, but if the fans find out it was all just that part of it was a story, you can't do that too often. You know, because that's going to get some not great feeling with the fan, and what WWE has turned into. Tommy, you seem to want to.
No, because I agree.
Oh, okay.
I no, because like I think of two instances that I think I want to bring up. One, like as far as it being a work and like working everywhere, I flash back to the story that I even told about Sandman back in the day when like he got blinded by Tommy Dreamer. And like he legitimately did not show up in public for like weeks, and kept that story going. And like I don't know who thought it was still a work at that point, or like was he legitimately injured? And I also bring up, and Brody Lee was sick. Everyone knew, and no one talked.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the locker room kept that quiet because they like they said they had a meeting, said we're going to keep this quiet. Personally, I feel like everyone may know, and they're like, let's keep this. Like, can we all work to keep this quiet? Because if we can pull this off right, it will be one of the best things in wrestling ever. Now, I totally agree with you. They can't do this too many times with the fans. Also, can't they? because
no, well, because then you turn into WWE, and we're here not watching WWE stuff and tired of their crap. I mean,
I also agree with that, but at the same time, those same fans had an extra $100 that they didn't just spend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, bait and switching fans is never a good thing. You know, and think about how many times Raw has been like, we're going to have this, and they're like, never mind, that's actually not going to happen. So I think you just have to be careful. Also, and this is just a personal thing, because, you know, I was watching the Dynamite promo, and, you know, fans flip out when he goes, ex-WWE guys. But the one thing that can't allow me to put it on the Punk pipe bomb level is he says, y'all forgot I was a good wrestler. I'm the best in the world. And I'm sorry, there's like 4 or 5 guys in AEW as far as wrestling goes that are far and away better. I mean, probably a lot more than 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. But I can't believe you're the best in the world when you have Bryan Danielson on your roster, and Moxley, and Punk, and, you know, he's really good at what he does. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
he has the potential to be a rock-like star. But if you're going to try to go down the Punk road, because there were similarities in that part of what he was saying, like, I'm better than y'all can't lace my boots. Okay, dude. Character-wise, in certain parts, maybe, but they will wrestle circles around you on that part of it. So
I don't know. Danielson on a good promo can kill anybody on a mic. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. But sorry, Jason, go ahead.
I was gonna say I can see that, but none of these guys you mentioned. In the modern day with heels, you always get some cheers for them at these big events.
Yeah.
This is a heel that everybody hates.
Not anymore. They were cheering him at the end of his promo.
There was promo, but if you go back and watch that match with Wardlow on Sunday,
that
sure. Hay was there. They were behind it. I mean, fuck, even the Miz gets cheers every now and then, you know, during matches. So it's a level. He's arguably the best heel in the entire.
Well, yeah, but now with this, you run the risk of him becoming an anti-hero. So is that what you want?
It is risky. Now, where do they go from here? Well, first of all, Steady says Happy Summer, Mike, by the way.
Hey,
Bernsey, what's going on?
Hey, everyone's showing up.
Yes. How hard do you go with this? Now, me personally, if you're really trying to sell this, you let him work some indie dates. Maybe he's working indies. Maybe he's cutting promos about AEW, you know? I mean,
so you know what I was thinking along those lines when I saw that they took down his merch page and all that?
Yeah.
Is he opens up a pro wrestling tees store again, like has happened a few times. And the reason that's funny is because that's literally who works with the AEW for their shirts and stuff.
See, the funny part about it is that he actually already has 2 shops on there. If you go look, he has certain merch that's only available through Pro Wrestling Tees, and then he has other stuff that's only through Shop AEW. And they're different styles of shirts. Like one's got the whole scarf T-shirt thing and everything. So he already has that. And then his cameo is still $600.
Dear God. There was one thing in his promo that it's such low-hanging fruit, as the Miz said it too, and I'm so sick of this argument. Mm-hmm. That's why it's like, as much as I love the promo, it's like it was impressive, but I'm not fully involved in it. Keeps mentioning, well, I don't have to do this and do that to get you fans to cheer for me, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such a oh my God, sing a new song because the Miz says that I don't have to injure myself. It's like, okay, you're safe. Good for you. Some people know some people don't die because they can just.
Tommy, I know why you don't like the promo. He said I don't have to pretend like I watch New Japan, and that offended you to the core.
I am not gonna sit here and lie. Okay, how many F-bombs? Oh wait, it's after dark. I don't care. Yeah, fuck that part of the promo because. Okay, it's like
as soon as he said that, I was like, "Uh-oh, Tommy."
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because I was like, oh, so you don't watch action, so you don't watch really good wrestling that could teach you some stuff, how to be a heel, get over with the crowd like Minoru Suzuki, and still be like, oh, okay, fine. No, so you're an actual piece of shit.
Look,
take it back.
Here's what I'm gonna say. If they're gonna allow this, independent thing to work out, hey, Brandon Oliver. Okay. Bring him into RCW. You might as well take full fucking advantage of it because let's be honest here, that'd be badass. Let him really sell this.
I would love him to be in RCW because the promo he would cut on the city would be amazing. Because especially if they run at the Grand Event Center again, that means he would have to drive through Northwest San Antonio to get there, and I would just love to hear what the hell.
Yeah.
Why is this a thing?
He could just insult the airport. We have a tiny ass airport. Let's be completely honest here. You know.
Insult 410.
Yeah,
that's easy. I'll write it for.
Whoa. Why are you guys getting so into MJF that we're thinking of ways to insult our own city? Get out of here! I'm gonna be booing that. I'm gonna be booing that MJFer. If he comes down to RCW,
because I like
8x10 probably will.
But that's because I like to insult 410. I don't care who's talking about it. Because seriously, can we please get it together?
Things could be worse. You could be I-35 in Austin.
This is true.
If you live there, you know. Yeah.
I'm gonna Photoshop MJF with the Marbach haircut. How about that?
Do it. Please.
Imagine him just like, you know, doing promo work in San Antonio for it, like going to a Mexican restaurant that's like highly rated and just tasting it like, this is crap, you know, like this kind of thing. Like he's a
he has to go to like Rodeo Jalisco number 147.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to go to like one of those places.
Yeah.
You see his car ride with House Hobbs and Rui Soho, where he actually sang the Rough Rider anthem. I was like, my immediate reaction was, how do so many white people know that?
But to your point, Mike, yeah, you do have to be careful with it. Where do they go with this? Like, honestly, and honestly, it's worth mentioning the CM Punk news about it. So, Punk tweeted about he was going to show up on Rampage live and address his career and the AEW World Championship situation. So, what he basically revealed is that he has a broken bone in his foot.
Not very clearly. Well, this part he revealed.
This wasn't clearly, but here's what he revealed: is that he has he's injured. He has a broken bone. And it's going to require surgery. And he mentioned that, you know, he went to relinquish the title to Tony Khan because he always said, he was mentioning he's going to rehab. He'll be back. You know, he's not done wrestling. Went to relinquish the title, and Tony said, I believe in you. And that kind of left things in alerts. Like, it went to commercial. You know, it was a good thing. It's good.
Well, it goes to commercial, so it wasn't clear. But Jericho also, right before they go to commercial, Jericho goes, CM Punk is relinquishing the title. And you're like, okay.
He didn't exactly say that, though.
Then it came back. Well, Jericho did, right?
Yeah.
Then they came back. They don't mention anything about it for another few minutes. They get to the main event part, and I think apparently Jericho says it again, because I didn't finish the main event because I started coming over here to get ready for stuff.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and finish what they finally tweeted out.
Yeah, well, Mike, you're the one that mentioned it, but so basically what's going on is that CM Punk is still AEW World Champion. But is it this Wednesday, right, at Dynamite?
Yes. This coming Wednesday.
This coming Wednesday at Dynamite, they're going to have a battle royal. The winner of that will take on the number one contender for the AEW World Champion, which right now is Jon Moxley.
Yeah. Okay.
At Forbidden Door to crown an interim AEW World Champion. So they're going the interim route. They're not stripping Punk of it. He's still the champion. They will have an interim title holder. Who knows how long Punk's recovery is? It's a broken bone. If it's in his foot, just depends, right? It depends how the surgery goes. Could be months, could be weeks. He's got to fully rehab it. In the meantime, though, they're going to have an interim champion, and eventually, when Punk is ready to come back, there'll be a unification thing. So,
that unification title match, I think this should just be a rule in wrestling. Anytime you do that, it has to be a double hanging belt ladder match. Like, you have to have a ladder match anytime you have the unification of an interim, and because I mean that just two belts hanging, it's classic.
That or 2 out of 3 falls, maybe, like a series, almost like a finals. Just a thought. So that's basically what the world title situation is right now. So Moxley is the current number one contender, right? Like, is that pretty clear on the standings right now? So well, unfortunately, what we do lose in this process is Punk will not be wrestling Tanahashi at Forbidden Door, which was teased Wednesday. Sorry, Tommy, but
I hate everything.
That being said, Tommy, I got to ask you. It's Tanahashi's already booked. He showed up for crying out loud. Who do you want to see him wrestle in AEW now?
Bryan Danielson, for the love of Jesus Christ! Sorry.
What if Danielson wins the Battle Royal?
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's not Bryan Danielson, screw it. I'd pay to see Tanahashi and Adam Page at this point. like I think that match is money. Like seriously.
Adam Page, Adam Cole, Eddie Kingston.
Now,
Ooh, Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa
yeah.
Joe.
Ooh, the aces finally face off. Yes. Give me
Now,
that match.
there's one other thing that I think I'm trying to see if Mike, you mentioned this before Tommy got on with this, but what if Tanahashi showed up on Wednesday? It was in the Battle Royal.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Because then that would also give you a Tanahashi Moxley match.
Yes.
Okay, stop it. I can only go so midnight. Okay, I can only go so midnight is the thing. So
Basically, the possibilities are endless and what they're going to do with this. Let's be honest here. So,
yeah, it is.
but yeah, Forbidden Door is just a few weeks away now. So that's a great event, and it sucks for the city of Chicago because, let's be honest, that was part of the reason they put the title on Punk too. Is he's going to his hometown, going to be wrestling against Tanahashi. So, I'm sure Punk will be involved on some level there. But go ahead, Mike.
No, just since we're talking Forbidden Door, and they're going to have to start making matches for that in the next couple weeks. Also, Tommy, David Finlay is showing up on Wednesday to face Hangman. I believe they also mentioned.
I heard that, and let's just see how Finlay's going to do now that he's no longer tagging with Juice since he's in Bullet Club too. Bullet Club is really restacking their roster. Holy crap! Yeah, I mean, and good for David Finlay too because he's. I think him and Juice are both good enough to stand on their own. I love their tag team. There's nothing against the tag team, but I think they're both good enough to stand on their own, and they're allowed to. And I think this would be a good time for Finlay to get to showcase what he could do, and Hangman to show he's still Hangman.
Oh, Steady wants to throw in real quick. Did we discuss Samoa Joe cast a sweet tooth yet?
Twisted Metal?
Yes.
Twisted Metal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
have you heard about that? Yeah.
Oh, I
heard
didn't
about
hear
it.
that.
Yeah, I heard about it. So
Oh,
that should be fun.
nice.
So
I'm in.
Yeah, but then, I mean, because that's a movie, but wasn't Samoa Joe also the voice of, is it King Shark in the Suicide Squad video game, or one of the video
I
games?
think it was the Suicide Squad video
That's
game.
coming up,
Yeah.
right?
Because
It's gonna be coming
he
up for
voiced
that.
someone in something Transformers related recently too.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing some voiceover work. So King Sharky should be good though. I can't. I really hope I get to play that game because it looks fun.
Yeah,
Now I just need some sort of special where the enemy jumps at King Shark and he just moves out of the way.
Oh, Steady says it's a series, not a movie. It's a series. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But live action of some sort, I
Yeah.
assume so.
all right. Let's quickly talk NXT in your house because yes,
Nah,
it
it's
is
okay.
happening. Yeah.
Okay, just like the actual event, I forgot that was even a thing we were going to talk about after everything else we just discussed.
Yeah, but it is a double shot of WWE events this weekend, and this is the first one on Saturday.
Is it though? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well,
Remember when NXT used to outdo the main roster? It still might, because the main roster show is probably still not great.
well, you know what?
I just don't know what's going on
Let's
here.
look at the lineup and see what you think is going to be better. NXT in your house: Tony D'Angelo, Channing Lorenzo, and Troy Donovan versus Legado Fantasma.
So this is Italian Mafia versus the Mexican Mafia, apparently.
Pretty
Hey,
much.
thank you, because I was literally thinking, I was like,
No, that's literally the way apparently it's being portrayed on
Was it-
NXT.
I was
Because
thinking to
gang
myself,
warfare. Got it.
I thought that, I was like, am I being racist? And then I was like,
No.
oh, am I doing racism just now?
no, 2.0 is being way racist.
Yeah.
With Tony D'Angelo, like full Sopranos. Like it's
That being said, I do miss the full-blooded Italians, but only with Nunzio or Little Guido. So anyway.
Right.
North American Championship: Cameron Grimes defending against Carmelo Hayes.
should be a good match.
Yep.
That should be fun.
Women's Tag Team Championship: Toxic Attraction versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter.
Despite the fact that they changed her name again,
Yeah.
I love Caden and Katana. God, I hate that when they keep doing that shit. Caden and Katana. So yeah.
Tag Team Championship: Pretty Deadly versus the Creed Brothers. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's a stipulation on this that the Creed Brothers lose, they have to leave whatever stable they're in or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so Diamond Mine lost
Is that
Stokely.
still happening?
Yeah.
Roddy's apparently maybe on the way out. So apparently from what I've read and heard from like Cultaholic, Creed Brothers are apparently getting over with the 2.0 crowd on their own. Also, Pretty Deadly came from NXT UK, and one of them is named Elton Prince. right? Like taking two music people, and then the other one's got a generic name, and it just they laugh about it so much because like one of them gets Elton Prince, and then the other one's literally like Joe Smith.
Wow.
It's just like one of you they obviously like, and one of you not so much. But apparently, like again, both teams are pretty good. Creed Brothers are apparently getting way over. They're kind of amateur wrestling ish, but they're kind of big hosses and throwing the people around. So
So two Charlie Haas or world's greatest tag team.
yeah.
One other side note on that Italian Mafia versus Mexican Mafia match at the start. The loser has to join the other team's stable. That's, by the way, another stipulation.
Okay, that is so Japan wrestling. I am mad now. I am legitimately upset.
I also remember that apparently the skit or the thing to set this up happened on who's the Santos Escobar on his yacht.
Wow.
They apparently parlayed on his yacht to set up this match.
That's a Jack Sparrow reference if I've ever heard one. So
yeah.
Loser has to join the other state. I can't even narrow that down to one Japanese promotion.
Okay.
Like every promotion does that at least once a year. Stardom just did that. Damn it, WWE.
Well, maybe there's going to be a new Yakuza group jumping in to spoil this thing, and then
do you know the legitimate reason why Tajiri didn't do that back in the 2000s?
because he was scared of them
He was
retaliating.
scared of the actual Japanese mafia. He's scared the actual Yakuza was going to come after him.
You just don't even mess with that. Yeah.
I remember hearing certain stories like that. Yeah.
Women's championship: Mandy Rose against Wendy Chu. And
Wendy Chu just because I like her as a person and as a wrestler, even though I hate this gimmick.
NXT Championship: Braun Breaker versus Joe Gacy. Now, if Breaker loses by DQ, he loses the championship.
Yeah, apparently with Joe Gacy, his character is, what if Bray Wyatt was a boring dude, but still trying to be a cult leader? That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
They're like, what if he wasn't scary, intimidating? He was just kind of a weird looking dude. And it's like, oh, okay.
And, as you do.
Yeah. Well,
wait, do we pick these? Yeah, I picked. I picked the winners.
I'm not going to track, but I mean, yeah, it's nothing major. But I will say this for those interested. NXT In Your House is this Saturday, June 4th, 7 p.m. Central Time on Peacock. It's going to take place at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. So they won't be switching venues for this one, right? So that's...
They do. I know this is being facetious, but if they actually had to for any reason, I'm saying for any reason, I don't think I would be able to stop that.
Where do you go from the PC? Back lot of parking lot?
Yeah,
Who knows, right? Yeah. All right, so that is Saturday. Sunday is Hell in a Cell.
Why is this still a pay-per-view? I'm so mad.
I know, but I mean, my gosh, this pay-per-view could have looked a lot different had there not been the whole Sasha and Naomi thing, right?
Might have looked a lot different if they remembered SmackDown was a brand, because apparently up until tonight, all the matches were from Raw, is what I read.
Yeah, so here's what they have lined up on it right now: Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. Just give me one promo where somebody else, fuck you, Ezekiel, just like that whole thing, What is your name? We got a handicap match: Lashley versus Osmosis and MVP. And we got a match that honestly I'm actually pretty excited to see.
Yeah, actually.
Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan against Judgment Day.
By the way, it's Bulliv Club.
I like it.
Liv Club.
I saw that a bunch on Twitter this week.
Now before we get into the title matches, there's one match that was just added tonight on SmackDown that is of epic proportions, guys. No holds barred.
Drum roll.
Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin. So for those wondering why Tommy's reacting this way, we told him when he came on there's going to be one crazy match they added that's going to be something of epic, and I didn't tell him exactly what it was. So what you just got from Tommy was his genuine reaction to this.
I've had a very long day after a very long week. You had the nerve to pull that bullshit on me. I hate this show.
Love you too.
I hate the people on it. And I do not know why I subject myself to this torture every single freaking week of my life.
Tommy, would you say that this match has the potential to make Cargill versus Anna Jay?
You better choose your word next words carefully before you finish that sentence. Before I didn't even hear what you said. You better choose your next words carefully.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. It's gonna be funny anyways. Would you say that match has the potential to make Cargill versus Anna Jay look like Okada versus Tanahashi in comparison?
I mean, that's a fair question.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. That is a very fair question. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because I'd rather see Anna Jay and Jade Cargill. At least they're good to look at. I mean...
Hey, Moss is a big muscular...
But he's not my type.
Mike's in the suspenders. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the fact that the word "he" was at the beginning of that sentence.
Yeah.
You know, he's not my type. Hey, look. Hey, if that's what you're into, good for you. I am not. So.
I'm just saying that, Tommy, that's a weird stance to take at the beginning of this month. So
yeah.
And good for all the Pride people. I happen to like one thing and one thing only.
Mm-hmm. I like.
Shut up, Mike. I don't know what you're gonna say. I don't know what you're gonna say to that. But shut up, Mike.
I had a few different answers, and probably none of them would have been appropriate. Or
shut up, Mike.
United States Championship. Theory against Mustafa Ali. This one actually might end up being the match tonight. Personally, you know?
Could be good. That's what I wish they would just let. I kind of do like this feud. I can't lie, but just let them go. They can go.
Yeah. Hell in a Cell is Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins.
Okay, speaking of promos, I gotta give Seth his props.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear that promo. That was good. I came even front as people know we love AEW here, but I came in front. It was good. It was good.
It was.
No lie.
But it's almost.
I cannot dispute the truth he told in that. So.
It's almost like these two guys got a feud with each other because there's really nobody else. I mean, they could tell the whole story all summer for this one, you know? So, how many gimmick matches? To. Yeah. And then
and they are really good. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, Raw Women's Championship: Bianca Belair defending against Asuka and Becky Lynch. It is a triple threat match. So.
Hey, look! I bet you they're champions on their show a bunch.
Oof. Warm in here all of a sudden. Damn.
So let's just pose the question to you guys right now. What's going to be a better show, In Your House or Hell in a Cell?
I'm gonna go Hell in a Cell. I gotta be honest. Because at least the Hell in a Cell match that's booked so far had the justification of the build-up.
Well, you don't watch 2.0, so you don't know if those matchups are justified or not. I mean, if there's a legitimate mafia war going on, that may legitimately be...
that stolen from Japan idea notwithstanding.
Tommy. You next you're going to tell me that a 2-night biggest show of the year for your company was stolen from Japan.
Oh, wait.
It's late.
It's an insult to Jushin Thunder Liger and everything he stands for. That they did that the year he retired.
Yeah, and then what happened to the world after that? Yeah.
Oh, that's true. The world needs Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah, apparently.
That's pretty much what it is. We need him in wrestling on some level. Yeah. So. I think Hell in a Cell may be better. It's just because I barely watch NXT.
No, and it should be because the main roster have actual established stars. Now that you've gone to 2.0 being more of an actual breeding ground and an actual developmental.
Yeah. I
mean, there's no one really on NXT where. I mean, Santos Escobar, I guess, kind of. He was a little bit of a holdover from 1.0.
Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes, yeah. I was going to say, there's only... Now there's, one or two people. And if I understand correctly, Joe Gacy actually was pretty big on the British wrestling scene. and European wrestling scene for a while.
I think CZW, he was kind of big.
Okay, yeah. So, but again, I don't know how much most people know about that.
Wendy Chu was that part of that stable with Xia Li and his name. She was the creepy.
Yeah, but she didn't wrestle. Didn't she just sit on a chair and do stuff?
Yeah, but I'm just saying how they immediately just dropped some stuff, and now she sleeps all the time, which is weird.
Yeah.
Than what she was doing before, saying something.
One question I'll have for you guys: who walks away as the Raw Women's Champion when all is said and done?
I want to say Asuka. I don't know. I think Bianca. Honestly, I want it to be. I would rather it be either of them, but not Becky, not yet.
I think.
Yeah, I'd want to go Bianca too.
Yeah. So. Well, Hell in a Cell is going to be on Sunday, June 5th, 7 p.m. Central Time. Pre-show probably at 6 on Peacock. Oh, sorry, what?
Hold on, one more. Yeah. Cody or Seth? We didn't really pick.
Oh, do we want to pick that one?
Oh.
Let me finish this up here. Okay. It'll be at the Allstate Arena, Chicago, Illinois. So, yeah. Go ahead.
So the only thing I was going to say, the reason I find it a little intriguing, you would assume they're strapping a rocket to Cody. But that would put Seth on 3 straight losses to him. And Seth's still one of your big names. Being able to put him in this thing with Cody. So I'm a little intrigued to see how that plays out, because I assume Cody would win, but with a Hell in a Cell, you could also do something where Cody loses, but it's like because of stuff that happened. Not just a straight, fair loss, but, he did get pinned in a regular match. There were Hell in a Cell shenanigans. They might bring out the red roaster lamp, so.
Do you think this Hell in a Cell is going to main event over the women?
It's called Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
I would argue Seth losing wouldn't really hurt him, because he could do like a whole "what am I doing" storyline deal. Also, because I flash back to the first Hell in a Cell where Undertaker clearly had the win until Kane showed up. Like, that just gave him something else to worry about for like the rest of his life. So so I don't think a loss would hurt either one. I don't think will be like I don't see like it being a big detractor if either wins either.
Plus, this is kind of the opposite of Cody's AEW book, and usually he would lose twice to the big name, but then get that final win to win the feud. So it's weird.
I would say this much, because wins and losses don't really matter in WWE. Seth could lose 2 or 3 more to Cody Rhodes, and he'll still have a title shot by Survivor Series.
Yeah, well, you're probably right.
Yeah, so that's just. That's the frustrating part of it, WWE, with it, It doesn't matter how much you win or lose. It's like, okay, we'll still put you in a title match, So,
because we made it up 5 minutes before the show started.
Exactly that point.
5 minutes.
During the opening 20-minute promo.
while they're talking on the mic, introducing the crowd.
All right, with that, we'll move into our 1 minute warning segment. Mike, do you have something you want to mention this week?
It's kind of stuff we'd already been talking about a bit, but yeah.
Okay.
I'll go a little bit further.
Whenever you're ready, sir. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. I'm just going to go a little bit more into the women's division in AEW right now, because I really do want them to tread carefully, because they do have a lot of talented women, and like we've talked about. You debuted Ruby Soho with such a big pop and a big come in, and then she kind of was just wrestling on Dark and Elevation for a long time. Clearly, the crowd has gotten behind Statlander recently, and there's another big one. And look, like we said earlier too, Britt, what she did from her original character, transforming into Britt Baker DMD, her title run, it was great, and she deserves credit for all of that. But you got to be real careful of, making her, like a Charlotte Flair, like where she always has to get the important win. Now you have Athena in there. You have a lot of talent. And I just, tread carefully. The Cargill thing, I think it's time to maybe move on from the TBS title. Like I said earlier, she's impressive. She's kind of an athletic freak who I think fans are always going to be kind of more drawn to. But if you're going to have a secondary women's title but not really utilize it while not giving your women's main title a lot of press and stuff, then what are these? Where are the titles these women's are fighting for that are kind of held there? So I kind of hope they steer in a better direction going forward. You have so much talent there that just need some time and some spotlight to have matches and kind of develop stories. So I hope it improves, and we'll see how it goes.
All right. Tommy, you ready? You got something this week, or?
Yeah, it's New Japan related.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, go.
Shouts out to Hiromu Takahashi for being the first man to ever win the Best of the Super Junior tournament 4 times, and the first and so far only guy to win it 3 consecutive years in a row. Beating El Desperado, I think, yesterday. Time difference in Japan, I think it's yesterday for them. But it's a big deal. He's now probably going to go after Taiji Ishimori at some point. I hope he's at Forbidden Door. Before we started, Mike made the joke that he's kind of the John Cena of the junior division, and I would stand correction, sir. He is the Hiroshi Tanahashi of the junior heavyweight division, which is the same thing as the John Cena of the junior heavyweight division.
Fair
so
enough.
No matter how I phrase it, you're still right. But big news out of that also is Ace Austin joining Bullet Club because they're trying to once again breed an army. And with Jay White as leader, I'm all for that actually. Just a really cool a final day of that tournament, and shouts out to all the guys who were there, including Wheeler Yuta.
All right. For mine, it might sound a little redundant because I mentioned it again last week, and we saw it again too.
Here we go.
Thunder Rosa, where was she? I put together, and I said it when we talked about Double or Nothing. Her and Serena went out there and just fucking killed it. Like they had something to prove. But it is a pain, the fact that she is not being featured on TV. She is your women's champion. This is reiterating what Mike had said. And why Britt Baker is winning things like Cup. Why are you making a big deal out of this when you're